Welcome back, my dear young friends, to weekly Bible sharing. Today, Monday, again, as our usual practice, we gather together to listen to God's words. And my dear friends, the gospel today is quite interesting because that can tell us about what we are experiencing or what we are experiencing nowadays in our life and how to overcome that. So, with that, my dear friends, now make ourselves ready to listen to God's words. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While still more people gathered in the crowd, Jesus said to them, "This generation is an evil generation. It seeks for a sign, but no sign will be given it except the sign of prophet Jonah. Just as Jonah became a sign to the Ninevites, so will the Son of Man be to this generation. At the judgment, the Queen of the South will rise with the men of this generation, and she will condemn them, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. Look, and there is something greater than Solomon here. At the judgment, the people of Nineveh will arise with this generation and condemn it, because at the preaching of Jonah they repented. And look, there is something greater than Jonah here." My dear friends, the Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. My dear friends, the Gospel today brings the very heavy tone from the Lord when He called the generation, the time of Jesus, that is an evil generation. Why He has to say that? What is the purpose of that? What the meaning come from that to us in the modern world? Are we also become as the evil generation? So, my dear friends, to answer that questions, and I think that is also related so strongly to our life, and that is about the danger of being familiar with someone. Why I say so? Because the people at that time, they was so familiar with the teaching of Jesus, and even they also familiarized with Jesus' miracles as well. And the aftermath of being familiar with Jesus and His teaching, His actions, that is, they did not receive anything new and spectacular from what Jesus did in action. And that's why they kept asking Jesus about a sign, because they want to have something new. My dear friends, that is danger. And we ourselves, I think, also face the same danger like them. Look, every Monday morning, you will experience that, hey, I have to go to work now. I have to go to the same place. I have to see the same person, my colleagues or our colleagues. And being familiar with that. And we get bored every Monday morning, don't we? To go to work, go to the office, go to school. And when we are so familiar with things and get bored with that, something new happen, we ignore that. Or even we didn't receive that or realize that. So, my dear friends, from the mindset of the people in the time of Jesus, which He called an evil generation, and to the dangers of our nowadays about so being familiar with things around, with people around us. that danger raised a soul's call for each of us, huge call for each of us. Are we realizing something new happen in our life or not? Are we stop, reflect, and then learn from what happened in our life or not? Because if we don't realize something new happen, something fresh happen in our life from the people, from the things around us, that can connect us and guide us to what we are celebrating. The Eucharist, for example. We celebrating the Eucharist as usual, and we familiar with every Eucharist we celebrate. Nothing new happened. In other words, when we are so familiar with things around or people around, we are tempted to ignore something new happen. My dear friends, the message come from the gospel today requires and suggests to each of us to reflect and to realize what is new happen in our life, what is new happen in our relationship with God and others. Thank you, my friends, for your time to listen to me, for what I'm sharing from the gospel, and hopefully the gospel message today can bring you something to reflect on and to think about. Thank you, and see you next Monday. Bye-bye.